Welcome to We Talk Money. My name is Robert Gignac. I'm the author of the international bestseller, Rich is a State of Mind. And my guest today is Larry Hoover, president of HomeGuard. Larry, thank you for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about HomeGuard and tell me how you got started with this business.
Well, in a former life, I was an insurance broker, and I was specializing in properties, so homes, rental properties, cottages. And I discovered that many people had no idea how vulnerable they were until I started talking to them about coverages and what have you, and it was shocking. So we created HomeGuard to help protect the homeowner.
So you talk about the concept of a policy audit. Many of our listeners have never heard that term before. Certainly I hadn't. What is a policy audit and why do I need one?
Well, you're not alone because no one has admitted they've ever heard somebody who does this. So we don't sell home insurance, we audit people's existing policies. Okay. So quite frankly, very many homeowners have no idea what they're covered for, what these things mean, and they are vulnerable. And what they seem to focus on is the premium. How much did they pay compared to last year?
So I'm a homeowner, I have an insurance policy. What's the ideal situation for me to even begin to think about, do I need a policy audit and where would I start?
Well, in a perfect world, we ask people when they last had a live phone call conversation with their home insurance person to ask them update questions about their property. Okay. And 98% of those folks we've asked have said never. So my advice would be to have that question, have a phone call with their insurance person to ask about what should I know about things that have changed in my policy and in my house.
So the reality for us who have home insurance, and my guess is this also applies to renters as well, not just homeowners, right?
Correct, and cottages. We audit to all three of those types of properties, different unique animals and rules and unique things that we've discovered in terms of how vulnerable owners of those properties really are today, and they have no idea.
Now, I must admit, in full disclosure, had to change insurance companies for my home ownership policy 5 years ago because I work out of the house. I run my business out of my home, and the insurance company I was with said, no, you can't do that with us. Is that something that we need to, in the, I guess what some people are calling the gig economy, or what's your side hustle, what do we need to consider?
Well, great question, because a lot of people, as they get into their 40s and 50s, are transitioning their careers into self-employed type businesses and consulting roles. But because we don't have the conversations with our insurance person, we need to understand that that is a change of status in terms of what you do, and it may affect whether you are covered or not if something happens.
And the onus is on us to let them know that the status has changed. The onus isn't on them to ask us, has anything changed in your status?
That's correct. And you have to be more specific in terms of has anything changed, because most of us don't know what we don't know. We don't know what that question means.
Okay. Now, you're going to, and you brought some real world examples of us that you're going to share about what can happen when things break down with a home ownership policy. And we're going to cover those examples after this short break.
Staggering 40% of all majorly injured patients in Windsor-Essex are impaired by alcohol or marijuana. When you go out, it is your responsibility to make plans for a sober ride home. Designate a sober driver, call a taxi, or use public transit. The choice is yours. Drive sober, get home safe. Or the next ride you get might not be taking you home.
Welcome back to We Talk Money. I'm in conversation today with Larry Hoover, president of HomeGuard. Now, right before the break, we talked about the concepts of policy audits and things that can go wrong with a homeowner's policy, potential risks to us as homeowners with an insurance policy. You've brought along some real-world examples of policies gone wrong or coverage gone wrong, and would you share those with our audience, Larry?
Absolutely, because these are the things why people should have an audit. We have over 40 examples when we do an audit that we've collected over the years, but one of them deals with sewer backup, and sewer backup is the #1 cause of water claims in the country and growing. And we spoke with a woman a few years ago who had a custom-built bungalow, beautiful finished basement, multi-million-dollar home, And the first spring runoff, which is one of the wettest times of the year, her basement backed up. And it was a mess. So she had $75,000 of damage.
Wow.
And then she checked her insurance policy and discovered she was covered for $15,000. And she had no idea that she had one of the worst coverages in the country for the most common accident in the country. But she did say to us, my premium is very low. So the point is, why do you buy this stuff? You buy it to be compensated and receive $1 back for every dollar that's gone.
So there's got to be a fine line between what we pay for versus what we receive. Lowest cost is not always the best thing, but I'm assuming there are some policies structured for overpayment where we're paying for things we're never going to actually use. Could that be the case?
It's not the majority of the examples that we see, but it can be as well too. We also see many examples of people missing out on discounts that they should have had years ago as well, because they didn't know they were supposed to tell their insurance person this stuff.
So I had no idea that sewer backup is the #1 claim or the #1 risk for a homeowner.
Yes.
Give us another example that isn't sewer related.
And a nice tie-in to your comment about the home office. We spoke to a couple who had their home destroyed by fire, and 2 or 3 years beforehand, the gentleman retired, started a new career, a home-based business. And the claims adjuster came out and looked over the scene, and it was discovered that the fire was caused by, it was a short circuit extension cord in the basement. However, they looked at his paperwork from several years ago, and it said nothing about him having a home-based business. The fire marshal proved that the home-based business had nothing to do with the cause of the fire. However, because they didn't inform their insurance person that there was a change in that homeowner status, they said, claim denied, we're paying you nothing, you didn't tell us you have a home-based business. So hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket. They may have compromised somewhere, but it was an ugly story.
Now, in a flood, if we have a flood, an insurance adjuster can come in, they can look at the damage, and you can kind of see the stuff that somebody has in their basement. In a fire situation where they respond, they can't see the stuff you had. How do you tell the insurance company what you had?
Well, you don't tell them, you have to document it on a spreadsheet, but ideally what you should be doing is taking pictures, still shots, of the more expensive stuff in your home. Most people will get compensated on the everyday average stuff, but it's the more expensive stuff. So take the pictures of the SKUs and the labels, the serial numbers, the more expensive things, and it will be saved out in the cloud off-site, and that's what they want to see.
And now that we realize that we don't know what we don't know, and we're going to go out and educate ourselves about our homeowner policy and our renter policy, how do I get more information, Larry?
Well, we have a website that the information will be shown, so we can do policy audits for folks. We do a lot of work with realtors and financial advisors because they share these things with their clients to stand out and be different as well.
Larry, I want to thank you for being my guest today on We Talk Money. I think we've helped educate the people a little bit about homeowners' policies, risks and rewards, things to look out for. And to the viewers out there of We Talk Money, if you'd like to catch past episodes, you can check us out at we-tv.ca. And if you've got ideas for upcoming shows, topics you'd like us to cover, or just questions that you're looking for a little more information about, reach out to us. We'll be happy to help. Until next time, thank you for watching.